Hi everyone, welcome to the F1 Time Portal, an F1 history podcast by a couple of friends that love F1. I'm your host, Rosa.
And I'm your other host, Luigi. And today we are rating drivers from 1951 for our special series, the Time Portal Championship. Let's go!
Yes, so today, as Luigi said, we're continuing on with our special series. We're going to do one of these for every season. And yeah, today we're doing 1951. And we have Dan with us. Dan was with us in reviewing the 1951 season. So welcome back, Dan.
Yeah, thanks, Rosa. Thanks, Luigi. Thanks for having us back on the show.
That's great. We welcome you back.
Yes.
And we welcome to hear your real opinions on what you thought of 1951.
I'm happy to share them.
So before we start, though, there is a special announcement I would like to make. So for those of you that listen to our main podcast regularly, you may recall we talked quite a bit about Bonetto, in particular Bonetto the Pirate. That was his nickname at the time. What has come about to my attention, so the reason why there's this special announcement is because one of the things that Alfa Romeo did from 1950 to 1951 was they actually replaced Fagioli, who was in his mid-50s, with a new younger driver. And I had the impression that Bonetto was a young person. Like when I say young person, maybe in his 30s.
Yeah.
That's the era of the young people
Yeah.
in the early 50s in F1. It turns out that Bonetto was actually 48. like a little bit younger than me right now. So I just thought that while we were talking about Bonetto the Pirate and had visuals of young pirates swashbuckling with their swords.
Man. Yeah.
No, he was a middle-aged dude.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So I thought I'd just give due credit to Bonetto. Good on him for making his debut at 48 and replacing the middle-aged 55-ish year old Fagioli.
Yep. Okay. Well, on that note, we're going to go to our first race. So, Louis, you're going to give us a bit of a little summary of what happened in our first race.
Excellent. Okay, so this is the Swiss Grand Prix. Now, remember, these aren't full reviews. These are just like fast reviews, memory prompters for the listeners and for ourselves before we give our real top three rankings. Oh, Rosa, did you want to just give a recap of what is this TP Championship? I know we did a bit of a longer one for the 1950 episode, but some people are still getting their heads around it. So maybe you should do that first.
Yeah, okay. So what we decided we'd do is give our own rankings to each race of each season to see maybe if we can give some moral championships to anyone who might deserve them and maybe right some wrongs that history didn't get at the time. So, yeah, it's just an opportunity for us to share our thoughts about the deserving drives back in the day. And so, yeah, we'll have a guest on every year to help us collate some scores and, yeah, just have some fun discussing these races in a bit of a different way.
Yeah, and we do our top three for each race.
Yep.
And those are accumulated to be the real champions. And just for the record, in my mind, these are the real champions, not the people who actually won, because that although we line up probably, I think, most of the time.
Yes.
But we are the moral truth.
Yeah, this is righting some wrongs. Exactly.
Yeah, correct. So race one is the Swiss Grand Prix. So the short summary is that Ferrari were on the rise in the off seasons. You may recall 1950, Alfa pretty much won every race except the Indy 500. Fangio got pole for this race, followed by Farina and Villarace. Ascari was out due to burns from a previous race, but qualified 7th due to bad weather. And this was his first... Sorry, I'm reading this, and I see this is my own reviews. It's my own fault.
Yeah.
I didn't write it very well. Basically, there was an installation lap, and this is the first time we've seen an installation lap in Formula One, according to Mike Lang's book. Fangio started strong in the race. Farina and Fangio took charge of the race at the very beginning, and Fangio won, with Taruffi taking a strong second place in his Ferrari. Fangio was in the Alfa Romeo, and Farina in the Alfa Romeo came third. That's the short summary, and I'll try to do better the next race.
Okay,
So, Dan, who was your top three for that race and why?
Okay. Well, my top three: first was Fangio, the second is installation laps, and third is
Well, no. Give us the reasons why and what the hell installation apps. But why Fangio first?
okay. So Fangio, well, he got the trifecta, didn't he? In that
Yeah.
race, so he got pole, he won the race, he got fastest lap. So I had to put him first because that's he couldn't have done any better, could he? Couldn't he?
No. Yeah, fair enough. I think I 100% agree.
My second pick, or for the second spot, was installation laps. Now that's a little bit abstract, maybe, but hey, I'm a car racing fan. You guys are the experts with F1 and the history, but as a car racing fan, installation laps. I mean, look, they build tension. Everyone's getting ready for the race. The start is always very exciting. The installation lap, gets everyone kind of psyched for, lights out. And, frankly, we get, stuff happens in installation laps. Crashes happen from time to time. Wasn't very long ago that
It's
Leclerc
abstract.
crash.
Oh, why did you have to mention Leclerc?
Because hey, I'm a fan. I'm actually a fan. It wasn't his fault, but I mean, look,
No,
the
it wasn't.
entertainment factor was still, pretty high.
Well, can I just say I'm still recovering from an installation lap or warm-up lap, as it was called, back in the 1990 when Prost went off in his Ferrari. And it was like, I'm still recovering from that, So, yeah, you're talking about a more fresh one, I think, Dan.
Yes,
But, yeah, it's same. But how can the installation lap win a championship? That's what my question is to you.
Well, it can decide one. If you crash, and you don't get any points.
True.
Yeah, at the moment, the installation lap is taking points away from Tarufi.
Yeah. Poor Tarufi, he got beaten by an installation lap. But wait, let's hear Dan explain his third pick, which was Italy, like a country winning the championship. So go, Dan, explain how Italy got on the podium.
Well, hey, you look at the results. Italian cars make up all the top spots, and then two of the three drivers as well. And let's face it, Italy, the people there, they love their cars more than any other country loves their cars. Even people that don't like cars, even Italians that don't like cars, if you're in a Ferrari and you've broken down, they're going to go and help you. Even if they don't like you, they will, because they love their
cars. They'll help you, then rob you, maybe.
No. They then invite you to their house for some pasta and wine.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's right, Luigi.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they would absolutely, the whole country would be absolutely loving this, seeing their cars just, basically dominating F1, because it doesn't last, as we all know, sadly. But yes, Italy, they're just so, it's just such a big moment for that country, basically. They had to get that.
Okay. Well, that is the most out-of-the-box start to a TP championship that we've had so far. Okay, this is only our second one, but that is out there.
It is, and I'm going to feel suddenly very boring now.
That's your job. You're the expert. I was never going to take you on because I'm not the expert, but all the listeners are relying on your expertise, so you can be expert and boring.
All right, okay, Louis, you're next.
Here we go. Yeah, so mine's going to be quick. Fangio first for just a solid win, really good result. Tarufi second. I don't normally go 1, 2, 3 according to podiums, but in this case, 1 and 2 I've gone with because he did a brilliant drive in that Ferrari. And let's not forget, at this point in time, one, no one but Alfa has won a race except Indy, and we don't talk about that. Okay. And secondly, he wasn't their top driver. I mean, okay, Ascari had Burns and all that, but he did a good job coming second, even if it was distant. Third, I actually put Ascari in for third. He came sixth despite Burns. So he was actually very driven to try to get a result, and good on him for pushing and trying. And so I gave him third spot.
Well, if possible, I mean, they're good. They're good, Louis. I know, and unfortunately, I think I've come in more boring than you, which is I'm not proud. I'm not proud of it at all. But yes, I also couldn't go past Fangio for my number one spot. I went to Rufy for the second spot just because he was able to challenge the Alpha. He really pushed to challenge Alpha. And then I went even more boring and gave Farina the third spot. Yes, and Farina is a defending world champion, isn't he? Yeah, he is, and he's isn't he in his 50s at this point as well, Louis, or close to, or maybe not quite in his 50s. So. Yeah,
I don't know how old he is compared to Bonetto, but his Bonetto range now.
Yeah, he's in there. He's in that range. So I thought he needed a bit of a shout out. So yeah. So
okay, fair enough.
After all of that, we have Fangio in the lead with 24 points, Tarufi second on 12, and Installation Laps third.
Dan has changed the whole dynamic of this. What you might regret, Dan, is at some stage someone is not going to be TP champion because of this. And you're the cause. You're the cause. Just saying.
Well, my picks are going to get diluted though. Realistically, are you averaging it just over the course of a season, or?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. Over the season. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, geez. I just looked at Dan's next pick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. On to race two.
So I'm looking forward to your race summary, Luigi. I'm looking forward to your race summary for race 2.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it better be better than the last one.
I hope my grammar is... I haven't looked ahead, you see. Okay, so this is the Belgium Grand Prix. So Fangio took pole position in the Alpha, followed by Farina in the Alpha as well, and Villaraci, who I think is in the Ferrari. I'm just having a quick look. No, he's not on my list, which means he didn't get any points. Okay. So at the end of the opening lap, Villaraci jumps into the lead. Fangio fell to 5th place, which is uncharacteristic for him. So it was Ferrari, Alpha, Ferrari, Alpha, Ferrari, Alpha, and then 6 Lego Talbots, which is pretty impressive to have that symmetry in life. Farina took the lead by, I think, the end of lap 1, and then won easily. Fangio had a 15-minute pit stop and quietly had a drink and was quite recognised for that as being a classy fellow. Ascari in the Ferrari came second, and Villaraci, who I think was in the Ferrari, I'm pretty damn sure he was.
He is, yes.
He finished third. So it was a bit of a short race summary. The race summaries get longer as these TP episodes continue.
Yes.
So Dan, let's hear your top 3.
Okay, my top 3. Who did I pick? Let's see. So first, I put Farina. Probably no surprise, really. Second, maybe no surprise again, Italy.
Yes, that is a surprise.
and rightly so. All their cars are just totally dominating. I mean, imagine if that was happening right now. We've got the Japanese Grand Prix going to be happening tomorrow. Just imagine if Italian cars were just the field. Okay. How do you think that country's GDP and happiness level would be about 500% higher than it is right now?
And so you think they deserve to get a world championship?
I think they deserve a whole lot of recognition.
Okay.
So who's going to turn up at the FIA ceremony at the end of the year? About 60 million people.
Yeah.
Or whatever their population is, 60 or 80 million. Oh, it's around that range. But yeah.
If an Italian
tell us why Farina first.
In a Ferrari, Luigi and Rosa. If an Italian won, okay, I'm doubling up, but just to make my point, if an Italian won the championship in a Ferrari, I mean, Italy would probably just take the rest of the year off.
Oh, they would declare some sort of public holiday. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us why Farina first.
Well, I thought, this was basically the highlight. Slight spoiler alert, but this was the highlight of his year. And let's face it, he's not getting any younger. So I wanted to give him as much sort of props as I could.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Italy. Well, I've probably
Yeah, I think we've had enough on that one.
I've made my point on that one. And then third, Andre Paletti.
Who is Andre Paletti?
Yeah, we didn't even mention him.
You have not, but that's okay. That's okay. I've made up for the gap that you left.
Yeah,
that didn't get any points, and here is a guy that no one's ever going to hear of, but he's actually gotten sixth in a Formula One race, but he's gotten no points for it. Whereas nowadays, or even 10, 20, probably 30 years ago, you would have come in with points, but. So I thought he deserved a bit of recognition. I reckon this is probably the only bit of recognition he gets from.
Okay, I've just looked him up, Luigi. He drove for Talbot. And and he raced in 14 races, and he scored 2 championship points in his career.
2.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I might not get the record with when he actually gets those 2 points. So I had to get in there now and mention.
Yep. Okay. Good. Well, he's now got 4 extra TP championship points as well,
and he's remembered forever. And Dan, we have some ethical standards here, so I have to ask this question: is anyone giving you funds or reward for flagging Paletti? Just I have to ask. You have to just yes, no answer, no explanation, just yes, no.
No, I'm being a good Samaritan here, and Paletti. People should know that name.
Okay, thank you.
Right, Louis, your turn.
Okay, so mine are less exciting. So I gave Farina first for solid drive, solid win. I actually gave Fangio second. I don't even think he got points in this race, just for being cool in the pits, like not losing his mind and taking it out on the whole world. He just had a drink, stayed calm, and got recognition for it. So I'm giving him due recognition. So he gets second place. And third, Dan, you may not know this, but I have a soft spot for drivers that do exciting things at the start, things they shouldn't do. And Villaracy, he took the lead at the start. Now, let's not forget, Alpha hasn't lost a race in Formula One history at this point in time, in the World Championship Series, I mean. And he had the audacity in the Ferrari to take the lead at the start. How dare he? And he gets third place.
All right. How long did he lead for, Louis?
I don't know. Not maybe a lap. Maybe not even.
Not even. Okay, so
a leg up. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's more valid than bloody Paletti. Just saying.
Okay, well, mine was a theme on yours, Louis. I'm too close to yours. Fangio, I gave top points to, my number 1 spot. I said, my reasoning was that he took pole and he should have won. So, but he didn't, and I don't remember why he didn't exactly. But I think obviously, I've made that decision because it wasn't his fault. But yeah, and then a second spot I gave to Villaracy just because he was aggressive. And I think at the end he probably had to let Ascari through, I would imagine, because Ascari was number 1 driver. So I do have a soft spot for drivers who exhibit like good sportsmanship, although he probably didn't have much choice back then. But anyway, he gets my second spot. And then I gave Farina third spot just because, I mean, he's in a dominant car. He won by a lot. Yep. Okay. Let's recognize the win for the elder statesman.
Very good. And the interesting thing, before you do the cumulative position, I've done quite a few of these TP rankings in the future, and there are occasions where the winner doesn't even get in my top 3. So you've given Farina the winner third. That's just making it.
Yeah, I know.
just calling that out.
Yeah, you have given away a little bit of our operations behind the curtain here. We are doing all of these out of order, so it is a bit weird. Because some themes are coming through again from future years into these years. So anyway, that's why we're a time portal. That's why, that's...
Yeah, we can do it in any order we
can
want.
move any order we like. Exactly. We've got a time...
Dan puts things in that
Yeah.
don't even exist or, are concepts. And we don't put in the winners necessarily.
I was going to say, Dan. I was going to say Dan's giving them to inanimate objects, but it's not even that. You're right. They're just concepts. They're just.
Yeah, I'm waiting for one of his daughters to come in the top 3 at some stage.
Okay.
Because my daughter laughed when I told her this. Yeah.
Okay, so after 2 races, we have Fangio in the lead on 38 points, Farina second on 24, Taruffi third on 12, but only just ahead of Italy on 10 points.
Italy should be higher, but I've only got as many points to hand out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
So we're up. Race 3.
Yep.
France. So this is actually Gonzalez's race debut, and Rosa and I regularly call him Speedy Gonzalez. He's a pretty awesome driver, did a lot of great things, and you will find out about him in the normal podcast a lot of times because he's quite active. So Fangio got pole position, followed by Farina and Ascari, so that's Alfa Ferrari. At the race start, Ascari edges into the lead on lap 1, but retires after 10 laps. Farina then moves into the lead after retirements, and Gonzalez was in second place and actually hands his car to Ascari. So he's on his debut, hands his car to Ascari, and if I recall correctly, I think Gonzalez was actually starting to catch Farina. So that was quite a noble thing to do. Fangio is on a charge after taking Fagioli's car, and if I recall correctly, Rosa, this is the race where Fagioli does his mic drop.
Yes,
is that right?
Yes.
Yes. So Fagioli retires on the spot.
Yep, he quits.
Because he's so upset.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Ascari takes the lead, but loses it on lap 50 due to a brake issue. So Fangio wins the race in Fagioli's car. So Ascari comes second and Villaraci third. Now, when I say Fangio won, Fangio/Fagioli won.
Yeah, and Ascari / Gonzalez as well.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'd like to see if Dan's going to put Argentina.
Argentina? Didn't you mean to say Italy?
Yes.
No, Fangio's Argentinian. Gonzalez is Argentinian. A lot of Argentina there. I expect Argentina. I'll be very disappointed.
My first picks are usually pretty normal. And this one's no different, Fangio. But really why I mention him is because he won in someone else's car. I mean, like, how cool is that?
Okay.
Not even driving your own car. Just, I'll just drive someone else's car, win in that. That's kind of like almost the ultimate in style. Imagine Federer. I'll just go and use, Nadal's racket and win in that. So, yeah, he had to be my top pick.
Yeah, interesting point. Interesting perspective.
In second, Fagioli, which I'm sure surprises you. But I just thought, like, he did, from what I can tell, he did the most massive walkout. He did the walkout of walkouts. And rightly so. Rightly so. Racing car drivers, I mean, there's probably nothing that they dislike more than handing their car over to some other driver. I've heard racing car drivers say it's like, handing your woman over to someone else, or if it's woman, someone else.
Whoa!
For those that are straight, by the way, we're into diversity.
Yeah,
you'll be a male. You'll be a male.
Your partner,
your significant other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's done a massive walkout. And, this isn't just, some club players or something like this is the Formula One World Championship. And he just he walks out on the race. He walks out on the championship and walks out of the whole lot. So, that just deserves a massive round of applause, I reckon. So,
Can I just take a diversion on this because it's interesting? Because when I read about Formula One history when I was younger and drivers retired in the 80s and the 90s, they just, like, let's say their car broke down on lap 10, they just walk to their helicopter, off they go. They're not even hanging around the pit wall or anything like that. That sort of mentality didn't really exist. It sort of exists now, but it didn't back then. And I just wonder if Fagioli just walked out of the paddock area, through general admission, like through out of the track on the day.
That's how I
Or
was
did he sort of,
picturing it.
Yeah, where does he walk to?
Absolutely did. It was like, and probably gave the team the finger on the way out.
Yeah, but did he go into the general admission area? Did he go to a car? Did he catch a bus?
Well, there wouldn't have
just
been a
wondering where he
helicopter.
goes
I hope
to.
there was some
Yeah, there's no
style. I hope
helicopter
he didn't have to
then.
catch a bus home or something. I hope he did it with some sort of
And stand awkwardly at the bus stop near the track with the team looking at him and him looking at them.
With his helmet in his hand.
Yeah.
No, I choose for some version of a glamorous walkout. I mean, well, you look at, you compare it to, say, current times where, okay, the most recent one was where Logan Sargent gave his car to Albon, right?
Yes.
And
yeah.
you didn't hear
We're
a squeak out of
talking
Sargent.
2024. Just to clarify, we're talking 2024 Australian Grand Prix. Okay, go on.
Yeah, and there was no squeak out of Sargent, and so and that's fine, that's fine. But like, this is,
I mean, I think the difference is Fagioli was like 55 at this point, and Sargent's 21 or something, isn't he? And I mean, really, if Sargent wanted to keep his seat, and he had to toe the company line, and Fagioli didn't have to. He was a tried and true pre-war racing car hero. And he said, I deserve better. But I agree with you, Dan. I think that deserves a shout out big time.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
Thank you, Rosa.
Okay, so Dan, you're unique.
No.
Your unique number 3 pick, Dan?
Well, yeah, this one's definitely unique. The race distance. Everyone thinks about F1, it's always 300 Ks. And it has been since I started watching, I don't know, decades.
I think they change it in the mid-50s sometimes, where they kind of regulate them all to be around 300 kilometres. So, it's been around for a long time. 600
Ks of racing in F1.
Yes.
And
to be accurate, it's I just looked it up, 601.76.
Wow.
Yeah, like had to complete the lap to get it at least 600 Ks.
Because and can I just say, I don't think France is metric, is it? Because it's 373.9 miles.
Okay.
So maybe France is metric.
Well, I don't know. I think it is.
Reporting it. If it's like American reporting, then they'd put it in miles. But yeah, look, my respect goes out, like that race distance. That is awesome. 600 Ks of Formula One. I'd take that tomorrow. I think that'd shake things up a little bit. Although maybe Max would win by 5 laps or something, but more time for things to go wrong too.
Just to that point, the race took 3 hours and 22 minutes. So I would have thought 600 Ks would have taken longer. So I was surprised to see how fast that was.
Yes.
Speed then, isn't it? Yeah, it must be around 180 Ks an hour or something like that. Yeah.
Pretty dramatic. Yeah. Okay.
Let's hear your very considered expert.
Yeah. My surprise is very, for those of Dan is probably loving this because he's doing the awesome, fun, cool prediction. And I'm doing the boring ones, and he knows it's normally the other way around, right? So I've got fans
in real life. That's the boring one. Luigi's the funny, crazy one.
Yeah. So Fangio's first, strong win. I've got not much else to it than that, other than just a strong win. Gonzalez second for just an amazing performance in that car, handing his car to Ascari. And doing and being in the running and chasing the winner down and giving his car over. So just an amazing performance. And this is his race debut. And Ascari third for actually taking it to Alpha. And as I remind you all, Alpha hasn't lost a race yet in the F1 Championship, excluding Indy. So good on him.
Oh, well, they're good. I had similar but different. So I went I gave Gonzalez my top spot. I think that just deserves, that's on debut, this guy, and he's handed his car over to his teammate. Okay, it's Ascari, and Ascari finishes second. I mean, similar to what happened last race. I think that deserves recognition for doing that as a young, and I know we say they didn't have much choice, but there is a race where we do see a young driver stand up to team orders like that and not hand over their car during a race. So, I think that needs some recognition. My second spot goes to Fagioli. So similar to what Dan said, he's 55, he's running third, and he hands over his car to Fangio for Fangio to win the race. I mean, that I think, and then it is interesting that he says, okay, I'm handing it over, but then I'm quitting F1 like that.
Yeah.
But good on him. And then I gave Fangio the third spot, come from behind win, in another person's car, and just his ability to just get in any car, which we see from him a lot, actually. I decided to give him points for that.
I was just going to say, Fagioli, this is his only F1 World Championship win, World Championship being as in from 1950. And I'm sure he's saying to his grandkids or whatever, I was going to win that race anyway.
Yeah.
And he so would have not won it, to be honest. So,
no.
Yeah.
But he can always say he would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And no one can prove him wrong.
So we have, at the end of 3 races, we have Fangio in the lead on 58 points, Farina second on 24, Gonzalez third on 14.
Okay, so we're really handing it to Fangio right now, aren't we? But he's making it very easy, which is, his prerogative. So we're up to race 4. We're up to the British Grand Prix. So Gonzalez is the first driver to do an average lap speed of 100 miles per hour, and he actually got pole position ahead of Fangio and Farina. So pretty impressive for just his, I think this is his second race. Yes, because the last one was debut.
Yes.
Scurry was 4th in qualifying. BRM make their debut in this race without warning, which is quite humorous, and they just start from the back of the grid.
Yeah, they just turn up on race day, don't they?
Yeah. and because they turn up, and because they're a British team, I think they must have been given some special leeway or something like that. So Bonetto, at the race start, now we know he's 48, shoots into the lead from 7th place, which is pretty damn impressive. There's a big battle for the lead between Gonzalez and Fangio. By lap 10, Gonzalez and Fangio were 25 seconds ahead of the field. Gonzalez, while leading and in the pit, he actually offers his car to Ascari, which is quite special because he did that in the first race where he was making his debut. Ferrari basically say, you're doing a great job, keep going. And at the time, Rosa and I pinned that as a strategic error for Ferrari, and we'll talk about that more later. Ferrari's more efficient car won on the day because when Fangio pitted, because the Alpha needed more fuel because it was a heavier car because they wanted to try to be better than Ferrari. Ferrari didn't need to pit as much. So Gonzalez leveraged that and basically won the race because the Alpha had to make more pit stops, essentially. The BRMs made solid progress and passed half the field. So this is actually Ferrari's first ever win. And this is the first time that Alfa Romeo has not won a race in Formula One. So they've won every race up to this point. Fangio comes second in the Alfa, Villarace Ferrari third, and Bonetto in the Alfa fourth. So pretty dynamic and exciting race. And wow, Ferrari's first win, Gonzalez's first win in the second race of his career. Who's Dan going to reward for this?
I'm rewarding who deserves to be rewarded, at least for first place, and that's Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Gonzalez probably the obvious choice, isn't he? But really, for me, the the mention is that it's the first ever win for Ferrari. So yeah, I mean it's his first win, and it's Ferrari's first win. So which is obviously massive in terms of F1 history. So yeah, I think he definitely deserves the top spot. Second spot, I gave to Ferrari.
The team, you need to specify.
The team or the factory,
or Enzo.
Well, no, not Enzo. The factory, Ferrari.
Okay.
Because he won. Gonzalez won in a naturally aspirated V12, and their V12s are probably the iconic thing in a Ferrari, or the most iconic thing. Okay, Ferraris have had V8s and especially more modern times other configurations, but the V12 is just this is what people are paying however many millions for when they buy these older Ferraris. They all have these naturally aspirated V12s. I mean, it's just such an iconic engine, and you just can't imagine Ferrari without it. Like if you'd taken that out of their history, it just wouldn't even be Ferrari. And here we go, this first win for them, and it's in a naturally aspirated V12. So yeah, I could have almost put that at top spot, frankly.
Wow.
Ahead of the team and Gonzalez.
It was close for me.
Yeah.
And in third, I gave it to Reg Parnell. So everyone knows Reg, don't they, Luigi? Reg Parnell? No?
Yeah,
No.
he's a big name, isn't he?
No,
he's better than the other guy. He's better than
look up
Letty.
what that guy's name was. I've forgotten it already. Reg Parnell, he did well in his home race. He got solid points, and so yeah, and Britain are pretty big when it comes to F1. And yeah, I think Reg did an amazing job in his home race when he wasn't really.
He started dead last.
Right,
he lined up last
into the championship.
Yeah, no, he didn't. But he started last and he finished fifth, so that's pretty good. Like it was number 20 to number 5. So
yeah,
I'll give you
pretty
that.
impressive. And, he's done it at home.
And to add to this, you have to remember all the other cars, they didn't know what to expect of this BRM. There was no form shown in the practice.
That's right.
So they would have been shocked to see this random car
passing
them.
Just go straight through scrutineering, straight on back.
Yeah.
Don't worry about our wings or our width or tyre pressures. Any of that.
No. I don't think there was that much scrutineering back then.
No.
I think cars and teams could just roll up and just register to race at any race if they wanted to. Yeah, it was very much more loose. But, yeah.
Okay, so with mine, I had Gonzalez number 1. Great drive, first Ferrari win. No need to say much more than that other than pretty special events in time history. Fangio number 2, just a great drive in number 2 position. He was outclassed and beaten on the day and maybe surprised because they hadn't lost a race at that point. And he probably thought, that Ferrari's going to pit again, but they didn't. So good on Fangio for getting second, and I'm giving him second. And Bonetto, I gave third, mainly because he did an awesome start and good on him. And I have a soft spot for great starts. I don't know why, but I just do. So,
I know.
And now that I know he's 48, I did this before I knew he was 48. So I think if I had known, I'd have done some ageism bias against him.
Yeah.
But makes it more impressive that
does.
he did such an awesome start, considering he was probably older than most of the field.
Yes.
So, yeah.
How about you, Rosa?
Okay. Well, I had Gonzalez in my top spot, and I just said it was a great drive, as Luigi said, and that he offered his car to Ascari. Like, he understood good strategy for the team. Ascari was the one, who could actually challenge for the world championship at the time. And he's the one that said, look, hand my car to Ascari. And the team said no. Like, what the hell, Ferrari? This is it's like a theme for Ferrari where the drivers come up with the good strategy. I mean, that's what, like, in our era, that is what science is doing right now in 2024 and 2023 and 2022. And to a certain extent, it's really what Schumacher kind of did in the 2000s, late 90s as well. So it started from back here.
I just wonder, was it the team? Is it? There's not that much detail about who
No.
said no. Was it Ferrari? Was it Ascari? You'd think Ascari would have had the call, and Ascari basically didn't want to look like a bit of a
like a bully or
ego guy.
Yeah.
Like his ego's out of control. This Ascari,
Yep.
and he didn't want to press that button.
No.
Now I think Schumacher, no hesitation. Senna, no hesitation.
No hesitation.
Verstappen, he would have pulled you out of the car before you offered.
I reckon same with Fangio. Fangio was like, we've seen him be
Fangio,
really
no hesitation.
Yeah,
Especially
exactly.
if you're Argentinian.
Well, you've kind of stolen my thunder there a little bit, Luigi, because I've given Fangio's second spot because just of the awesome duel that he had with Gonzalez and just the racing. He just made the racing amazing. But then I gave my third spot to Ascari for not forcing himself into Gonzalez's car and letting the young guy, have his first win with Ferrari. I mean, that is a big call for Ascari to make then, because you're right. He's the number one driver of the team. He could have said, "No, I'm taking the car," and he didn't.
And he should have.
And he should have. I mean, he should have absolutely taken it. So
it was very decent of you, Rosa.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, he might have been a bit burnt with Fagioli walking out the previous race when that happened, and maybe that was all just a bit raw for him.
Maybe that's right.
Well, everyone was really criticizing Fagioli big time behind his back, and Ascari's like, I don't
want people to hate me. Okay, so after 4 races, is that how much? Yeah, after 4 races, we have for Fangio leading with 70 points, Gonzalez second with 38 points, and Farina third with 24 points.
Okay. Race 5, the German Grand Prix. This is a very short summary, which implies it must have been a boring race. Ascari took pole position ahead of Gonzalez, so it's a Ferrari 1-2, followed by the Alphas of Fangio and Farina. It was actually a solid race and battle up front. Farina, Fangio, Gonzalez, and Ascari all leading, but Ascari takes the win by 30 seconds. Fangio second, Gonzalez is third, Taruffi fourth. So Ferrari claim 5 of the top 6 positions. So Ferrari have just gone from winning their first race at Britain to the German Grand Prix now, smashing it and taking 5 of the top 6. So they've really made a statement.
And just to round off some of the discussion from the previous race, Ascari is now only 10 points behind Fangio in the championship, like in the actual championship. So if he had taken the 8 points in the previous race, he'd be only 2 points down.
Yep. Well,
see what I mean?
Yeah. No, that was a massive call that he made the previous race.
It's a massive,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And maybe he was starting to feel sick about it. The next race or two, maybe, he was looking back and absolutely kicking himself. We'll never know, but we can certainly imagine it. I actually put Ascari in my top spot. I mean, he won by 30 seconds, so I mean, sort of how could I not have him there in first? In second, I put Ferrari, and that shouldn't come as a surprise. I mean, they took 5 of the top 6 positions. I mean, just absolutely wiping the field with their car. So, it's almost like it doesn't matter who the driver is. So just, that's why I've got Ferrari there. It's not a driver there. I've got Ferrari there because it's their car that's actually taking all the spots. Sure, Ascari did a great job to get the win, but Ferrari's my second pick. And then in third, I've put the Nordschleife. That was the first time that F1 raced at the Nordschleife circuit.
As a championship race.
Yeah,
I think there were races in
yeah,
the
it had been
past.
around a while before then, had all sorts of other racing on it. But that was the first time the F1 cars were there in a championship race. And, again, that is just such an iconic circuit. Maybe that's the most iconic racing circuit in the whole world. Look at just, petrol heads in general. The Nordschleife is just, that is the one. When Ferrari or McLaren are making their fastest road car, or Porsche, whatever they can do, when they want to compare how fast it is, they do a lap of the Nordschleife. So the North.
So just for our listeners, we kind of refer to this track as the Nürburgring.
Nürburgring.
Yeah.
It's the same track.
Yeah, it's the same track, yeah.
If I recall, Dan, this was the one where the Subaru WRX, this is going back maybe a couple of decades now, when the WRX did a time faster than the Porsche, and they did a big song and dance about it. So it's a track that is it's a marketing tool.
Yeah, it's definitely like so everyone's using it as a marketing tool, and then all the sort of wannabe racers that have got lots of money and can have a fast car want to get that car on there and do a hot lap. So I thought it was definitely worth a shout out.
Yeah. Cool.
So who have you got who's your top three, Luigi?
Yes, as usual, I've gone a little bit more stock standard. So I've got Ascari for the win.
Luigi, you didn't think of a concept to put into your top three?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to change this, and it's too late for me to do it for this season.
Yeah.
So Ascari his first win in the World Championship Series, and Ferrari second in a row. So just a very big statement of Ferrari, we've arrived, and we're going to take you on. Alfa Romeo, Fangio, I've put in as second. Mainly not just because he came second in the race, but he was the only one that gave resistance to Ferrari. So when we talked about Ferrari taking 5 of the top 6 positions, it was Fangio was the one that broke it, and he was second. So he was beating a lot of other Ferraris. Gonzalez, I put him as third for being right up there, being in the race, competitive, coming third, and I think this is his third race. So when you think about what his first 3 races have looked like, you've got a race where he handed his car over to someone else who got some serious points. He won the second race, and the third race is coming third. So he's awesome start for him.
Well, yes, quite unfortunately, I'm very close to yours, Luigi. This is concerning to me.
I can see it, yeah.
But I actually gave my top spot to Fangio. I think the battle was amazing with Ascari, and from what I remember, I think his car started having gearbox problems and his engine was misbehaving. And and I think that was really the reason why he didn't win. I mean, I agree with Dan that the Ferrari was just dominant. But yeah, I think these two have some great battles. Yeah, in the Ferrari and the is it the Alpha at this point? Although anyway, there's lots of cars that Fangio drives really well in years to come. So yeah, I go Fangio top spot, Ascari second with a great win in a very dominant car, and yeah, Gonzalez just able to stay with the leaders and make himself a problem up there. So I gave him third spot. So what do we got one race to go? Yeah, we've got one.
No, we've got two.
Oh, we've still got 2 races to go. Okay.
Yeah, the Italian Grand Prix and the Spanish Grand Prix.
Yeah, okay. So with 2 races to go, we do still have Fangio in the lead on 84 points now. Gonzalez second on 46 and Farina third on 24. And Ferrari's right up there. They're on 12. They could get third.
I'm barracking for them.
Ascari's got 34 though. Just saying. I think you've got a bit of an order issue with your list.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
I haven't put it in order. That's true.
That's okay.
Sorry, yes. Luigi. That is my fault.
I'll reveal a little bit about you to those listening. Rosa's a finance person. So this is a big call.
That is a big call.
And we're looking at a spreadsheet, just letting you all know.
Fixing it right now.
Excellent. Okay.
Hang on. I will remedy that because that just is going to play with my brain now. There we go. Fangio on 84, Gonzalez on 46, and Ascari on 34.
Okay.
But
So we're up to race.
Ferrari is still on 12.
Yeah, sort of a bit down, but yes. We're gonna give Dan special rankings and then mention at the end because they're there. They've got points.
They've got points, exactly.
Now. Yeah, we can't remove them. Okay, so we're up to race 6, the Italian Grand Prix, second to last race of the year. Fangio gets pole position, followed by Farina, Ascari, and Gonzalez. Ascari and Gonzalez lead most of the race. Farina proved to be the strongest challenger, but could do no better than third. Fangio retired. Farina gave it a big challenge and reduced the gap to Gonzalez from 57 seconds to 7 seconds at race end. So he had a really big comeback drive, but then Farina had a fuel tank issue and finished a gallant third. So we basically had Ascari winning and Gonzalez second. And one thing that I wanted to mention that I really appreciate about the Monza Grand Prix is when I read about the Monza Grand Prix in the 1950s and even into the 60s, it's one of the most exciting races ever. However, it has lost that charm in recent 10 years or so, I'd say. But we still get some surprise results from the Monza Grand Prix, but it was one of the best races to read about in this era, and this was an awesome race to read.
Yes.
It doesn't
and a
come
lot
through
of it,
in the summary, though, necessarily.
No, it doesn't.
No.
But the race itself, in the proper episode, it's all there. Listen to it, everyone. 1951 proper episode.
Shall I do my rankings? Okay.
Yep.
I put Ascari in first, in large part because he was keeping the title fight alive. So, yeah, that was, a massive result for him and keeping it going. So, for everyone that was following it, it would have been a huge result. I put Gonzalez in second, but almost like with an asterisk beside his name. I just felt like he was lucky, to get the result he got. But and then in third, I had Farina, because the way even though he only finished third, the way he closed the gap to Gonzalez, I think was just really impressive, like taking 50 seconds out of him. But I thought, Gonzalez had deserved a bit of credit over the last, some races, and that's why I still let him have second, even though I thought he was lucky.
I'm just surprised you've got 3 human beings in there.
Yeah, Dan got conservative.
Well, there weren't any other kind of iconic things about it. It sort of.
I'm surprised you didn't give it to the Monza track.
Yeah.
No, like Monza, sure, that's an iconic track, but it's not necessarily iconic in the eyes of all motorsport fans.
Okay.
But Bonetto got 2 points. Really? Are you sure?
I'm sticking with Ascari, Gonzalez, and Farina.
Okay, so my picks are basically Ascari first, just a solid win, really strong performance, and I liked how Dan said kept the fight alive for the championship, and he really did by getting this win.
Yeah,
especially with Fangio. I think he retired, so a big opportunity for him. Yeah, Gonzalez just a solid second. I didn't see it as lucky, but I respect how it could be seen that way because maybe Farina should have got him. And I put Farina as third. And I hate to say it, but I have no reason for it other than, he finished a gallant third with challenges with his fuel tank and, life. And I don't know, there's something about Farina that I haven't recovered from for 1950. So I'm still struggling with the fact that the Alfa Romeo team wanted an Italian to be the first world champion, and I'm a little bit upset about that.
Well, I mean, there's only rumours about that, Louis, to be fair.
I know.
You're just...
I gave him points. I put him in third.
You're just weighing into the drama and the speculation of it all. But, but yeah, you can see given some of the decisions that Ferrari makes, that might have been something that the Italian team made as well in
Yeah.
Alpha. Okay, well, I have gone also, so all three of us put Ascari first. So I also went with Ascari first. It was a good win. He was running fourth at one stage. And he's now only 2 points behind Fangio in the actual championship. Not in our championship, but in the actual one. So, yeah, again, just really bad strategy back a couple races ago. I gave Gonzalez second, similar to Dan's reasoning. He finished second ahead of a charging Farina, a little bit lucky, but yeah, deserved it for a good drive. And then I did Bonetto. I did Bonetto third. And
Wow.
and I've said here he just enabled Farina to finish second.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
He gave up his car. And Farina was able to finish second. So sportsman
makes you wonder. That's right. He got the car before Fangio could get it.
Yeah.
Interesting that
is. Okay, so now with one race to go, we have, and this is in order, I've done the thingy. Fangio on 84 points, Gonzalez on 64, and Ascari on 58.
Isn't it interesting that Gonzalez is ahead of Ascari, the team leader?
Yes.
And this is not a spoiler, but Gonzalez leaves Ferrari at the end. And this is what the TP is reflecting, actually.
Yes.
Gonzalez leaves Ferrari at the end of 51 because he never felt he was going to be the number one in Ferrari.
No.
So he went to Maserati. And look at us. We're reflecting exactly what Gonzalez is thinking.
That's right.
I'm better than this guy. And they're still giving Ascari number one rank. So, yeah.
I just want to shout out, just with one race to go, we've got Italy in ninth on 10 points. We've got installation laps on 6 points in 11th place. So, see how they go.
Yeah, the battle at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the last race of the season. So at the race, the 7th race of the season, the last race of the season, the Spanish Grand Prix. This is a championship decider in the real world. So Ascari is only 2 points behind Fangio, which is very interesting because let's not forget that at the British Grand Prix, Gonzalez offered his car to Fangio and Ascari said no. Sorry, let me get this right. Gonzalez offered his car to Ascari and Ascari said no.
And the team. I think and the team said no.
Yeah, okay, and the team. Yeah. So Ascari could have been, so at this point, Ascari's 2 points behind Fangio in this decider, but in actual fact, if that decision had been made in Britain, it would have been a 2 or 3 point lead in Ascari's favour. That's just a side comment, by the way. So in this race, Ascari took pole, followed by Fangio, so you got the protagonists right next side by side. Then you've got Gonzalez, Farina, and the rest in the grid. Ferrari were leading in the race until their tyre strategy hurt them. Essentially, they chose slightly smaller tyres than normal, and because of that, their tyres kept delaminating. So that meant the Ferrari drivers had to make extra stops, which basically ended Ascari's hopes. And to be honest, made no difference to the championship because let's say for Ascari was leading, he was going to be affected by this tyre delaminating issue regardless whether he was ahead or not of Fangio. So Fangio actually did a very solid drive, won the race and the championship. Gonzalez was a strong second place in the Ferrari and apparently a very impressive drive despite the tyre challenges and the extra stops they had to make. Farina came third in the Alpha, and Ascari, despite car issues as well as the tyre delaminating issues, he actually fought hard to come fourth 2 laps behind. So over to you, Dan.
Well, I put Fangio in first, and I haven't mentioned his name too many times, but that I have massive respect for him, and obviously he's everyone knows him to be a great champion of F1 and motorsport, and I feel the same way. He definitely earned it and locked it away with that win. He did great. He had a fantastic season, really. He was always doing well. he was never doing badly, really, that I could tell. So, no, I was happy to see him take the championship. For Ascari, I put him in second. It felt a bit like he was unlucky, like a bit in the race, and then possibly in the season. It could have just gone a bit better for him. I mean, he came into the last race 2 points behind, really had a chance to win. Rightly so, Fangio won, but it did feel a little bit like he was unlucky. And I put Gonzalez in third place because, again, he did a great drive coming second. I think he did a fantastic job. Yeah, I was slightly cheeky in my notes. I wrote showing he's a solid number 2 driver. Yeah.
He was a 1.5, I reckon, but on times he was many times a 1.
Like a really good number 2 driver. So no, maybe he's a bit better than that. But I had him in.
Well, he thought he was because he left.
Yeah, if you want to win the championship, then sometimes you have to make a move. But how did you go, Luigi?
Yeah, I had Fangio as number 1. I just felt like he did a very solid drive to win this race. So just not much more to say other than adding to repeating what you've said. I put Gonzalez actually at number 2 because I felt like he finished second despite the tyre issues, and he did finish ahead of the Alfa Romeo, which didn't have the tyre issues, which I think was overall a more superior car when you look at it holistically from a sort of a higher level looking down. I'd have picked the Alfa over the Ferrari, even though Ferrari became strong at the end. So good job for Gonzalez coming second in what was basically not as good a car with tyre issues over Farina. And third, I gave Ascari, coming fourth again despite the tyre issues. So that would have been very frustrating. He stuck it out. He kept on the track. He pushed hard and he came fourth. He knew the championship was gone, but he kept driving. So good on him for that.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Rose?
Well, mine's a variation on both of yours. I think we've all chosen the same 3 in slightly different order. Yeah. So I've put Ascari first. He just never gave up, even with bad strategy and bad tyre selection. And he came from 8th to 4th, which that's a really good drive back in these days. Fangio second. The guy's just professional. Like he just knows what to do to win, and he knows what to do during a race to just focus on the race and win it. So I just gave him second. I agree with both of what you said, especially you, Dan, about he gets a lot of I just think he's a great race car driver. And Gonzalez, I've actually said, like I did this a while ago, so you might have to remind me, Luigi, but I said he had good thinking on tyre stops and he was able to build track position. So again, I sort of gave it to him because he was a bit of a thinking driver as well as just trying to drive fast. I think he made some calls on the tyre stops during the race and he was able to build track position and keep it and finish where he did.
I can't add to it. I can't remember the details. But sorry. But I think very highly of Gonzalez.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
So we have our TP champion.
We do.
And does it match the actual championship?
Yeah.
Well,
I made sure of that.
Yes. So in our championship, we will crown Fangio as the TP champion for 1951. Ascari second Fangio with 106 points first. Gonzalez second and Ascari third.
And only by 2 points.
Yes,
78 to 76.
Yeah.
So Gonzalez actually beat Ascari.
Yes. And in the actual championship, we have Fangio first, Ascari second, and Gonzalez third. So we switched Gonzalez and Ascari.
As we
in ours. Yep.
Yeah.
It's a bit unfair for Ascari, but it's a good recognition of Gonzalez's talent, I guess, and strategy thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his debut year.
And his debut year. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's nice to line up. It's nice to line up with the original championship, so we respect the championship results. So thank you, Fangio, for winning it, and we recognise you as a 51 champion.
Yep.
And yeah, down the bottom, we've got the installation laps, the race distance, Andre Paletti, Reg Parnell, and the Nürburgring.
Yeah.
On 4
You
points.
can't see me, but
on
I'm
4
just
points.
like sort of tapping my chest with respect.
And Italy beat Bonetto. Italy got 10 points and Bonetto got 8.
Italy beat
he couldn't
Bonetto.
couldn't beat the country. He gave it a go. I think he's Italian anyway, so I don't think he'd be
No.
too fast. Okay, I think that's the end of the episode, everyone.
Yes,
So
it is. Well, that was a bit of fun.
thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Well, thanks for having me on,
right.
Luigi and Rosa.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Dan, a little bit like Schumacher and Verstappen, we might actually have to start having some rules on this thing.
Yeah, you've moved under braking. You've moved under braking in the corner, Dan. Just so you know.
What happened when they brought rules to Schumacher?
Yeah, that's true. That was no fun, was it? No, we're going to keep it. Yeah. We're going to keep it like this. That was fun. Okay. See you, everyone.
Okay. Bye.
We have a Patreon.
Yay! We're a professional podcast now. So it means a lot to us if you are able to support the F1 Time Portal podcast.
For a small monthly fee, you not only get ad-free podcast content, you will also receive special episodes that are exclusively uploaded for our Patreon financial supporters.
We promise at least 2 additional exclusive episodes each month aligned to the decade we are up to in the show.
And you will also be able to make suggestions about any special episodes you may want us to research and present. We can't promise that we can do all of them, but we will consider them.
So, if that sounds like an entertainment bargain to you, go and sign up at patreon.com/F1 Time Portal today.
If you're enjoying our podcast, please tell your friends and non-F1 friends alike.
Yeah, and don't forget to rate us 5 stars or whatever highest is available on the podcast platform that you use.
We have a range of social media handles for you to connect with fellow listeners, so look up F1 Time Portal on all the usual platforms.
Or visit us at www.f1timeportal.com or email us at f1timeportal@gmail.com.
We would like to give credit to our primary reference materials, a series of books called Grand Prix by Mike Lang.
We also use many other written and digital references, which are in our show notes.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.